Hello friends and welcome to this week's Make and Take. So this week we are making this super fun and adorable mushroom card. I'm so happy. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. So first off, we're going to use a green card base. We're going to go ahead and just fold that in half. And then I have this piece for the inside of the card, and then we're going to make this piece into a cute little banner. So let's go ahead and get started with that first. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut from the corner here all the way to the center. I'm talking about center this way. And then I'm going to go from the corner here to the center there. I'm going to turn this here. We're going to do the same thing, the corner to the center and corner to the center. All right, so you end up with a cute little banner, which is going to be very, very fun. All right, we're going to come back to those pieces in just a little bit. This is also going to be one of the layering pieces. We're going to be using this here in just a minute. Okay, now next thing we're going to do is we have all of these fun little stencils that I created from mushroom toppers. So you have lots of different ones to choose from. My thought was that this could be like the amanita, like the red ones. This could be like a yellow mushroom. These could be morels. These could be the little ink caps. And if you have no idea what any of those mushrooms are, that's not a problem. You don't need to have mushroom knowledge in order to have fun. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and we're going to trace and cut out some of these little bits. So I'm going to use a pencil here. I should start on the end that makes the most sense here because I want to get the most out of my paper. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to trace the little mushroom toppers. It's okay if you want to take and just cut out your paper to make them kind of mushroom shape if you don't want to trace, but tracing them does make it so that you know it's the right size, and there's a lot of other reasons why I like to trace things so I know that they're going to be the right ones. Kind of like making a pattern for when you're doing sewing. You know that if you trace a pattern that you're going to get it, all the pieces are going to match up nicely, or that's the idea. All right, so we have one mushroom topper. We have our other one. These are going to be the little red guys, or the amanitas. All right, that's one. Then, of course, I have my yellow paper here. This is going to be for this little guy, a little yellow mushroom. And this is actually suede paper. It's fuzzy, which is really fun. And I'm actually going to trace only a small bottom portion of this. I'm actually going to flip this over so I can get just a small little piece of this. Again, you're going to see why here in just a moment. So we'll cut this little bottom piece out here. I don't know have you guys ever gone into the woods and the mushrooms or into the woods and found mushrooms and been like, what is this a good mushroom? Is this a bad mushroom? You just never really know. I never know, and so I usually just look at mushrooms and then think they're cute and then take photos of them, and then just enjoy that. Or you might learn about them later. There's some local mushroom forums that you can post in, and then people will help you identify them, which I think is really fun. But one time we were out camping on the Olympic Peninsula, and I came across these amazing velvety looking mushrooms, and I just thought they were so cool. And so I love how the suede paper has kind of a velvety feel and a look to that, because it's just really, really fun. All right, so for this color paper, I'm going to cut out these ones. These are going to be my inky mushrooms, my ink caps. And again, if you're not familiar with these mushroom names, that's totally fine. You don't need to have any knowledge of mushrooms to enjoy this craft. Something about being a fairy, we're just attracted to cute little things like little mushrooms and little toadstools. It's quite fun. It brings me a lot of joy. All right, and we'll cut out the little inky guys here. All right, the ink caps, which are really, really fun. I've seen them many times out in the woods out here in Bellingham. As they get older and older, they actually turn black on the tips and actually drip like ink. It's really, really cool. So if you come across really old ink caps, they look super rotten, and they're not very cute, but in the early days of them being alive, they are extremely cute. Okay, I know you're probably thinking, Ellie, these do not really look like mushrooms at this exact second. I know, we're not quite done yet. All right, these are going to be the morels, because I had to find a paper that was kind of morel colored. And we're not going to cut these ones out quite yet, and you're going to see why here in just a second. All right. Okay, with the morels, I'm actually going to take my paper here. It's actually sticker paper, and I'm going to crinkle it up like so. Get it all nice and crinkly. Because the morel mushrooms are not like a smooth mushroom. They kind of look like they have a lot of holes in them. Personally, I have not found morel mushrooms in person to take photos of, so I don't really know up close what an actual morel mushroom truly looks like, but I imagine it's something similar to this. I'm going to take my brown ink pad here, and I'm actually just going to run ink right over the tops of all of the little folds and all the little wrinkles that I just put in there. Okay. And this is a distress ink pad. It's just a standard ink, and it is walnut stain is the color that I'm using. Okay. All right, now that I've added the ink to it, now I'm going to cut these out. I left the sticker backing on there because I'm going to be sticking them down onto my card. So if you are thinking like, oh, I should probably, when I do this, unstick the sticky part before I cut them out. No, leave the sticker part on there because we are, again, going to be using that for a reason here in just a moment. All right, so we're going to take this little guy, we're going to wrap it like this, going all the way around. Okay, all right. All of my toppers of my mushrooms are cut out. Now I gotta cut little stems for everything. So I have a couple little mushroom stems. All right, there's one. Making them a little bit more tapered towards the top, just ever so slightly. There's two. And of course I have my morels. And I like having the fuzzy part of it. I think that's really fun. So I have two little bits. And of course, again, I'm tapering the top. So there's one. And I'm kind of rounding the stems on the bottom here. And there's two. So we have our two little morels. So we got these little guys. All right, I got a couple more to go. This little guy right here is one of the mushrooms that kind of grows out of the side of like a log. So I'm going to kind of cut like kind of a little bit more of like a narrow piece for that. This little guy. And then my little ink caps. I'm just going to cut a small little strip here because ink caps have a really, really, really skinny stem. And it's not perfect, so it's a little wiggly. So we have our little ink caps right there. All right. Okay, so now we've got to do some inking. This is my Distress Oxide ink here. It's the Distress Oxide Black Soot. All right, so I have my little sponge here, and I'm just going to add ink to the bottom. It's actual ink, which is funny. To the bottom of my little ink caps. We'll do the same thing here. All right, very fun. I'm going to add just a little bit of color to my little mushroom stems here, just to make them look just a little bit more interesting and not just like paper. All right. Oh, and I think I'm going to add just a little bit, just a tiny bit of color, cover my pencil marks on my little mushroom there. Nice. All right. I think I have all my little bits. Okay. It is time for the extras to start putting things together. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to take this piece of paper here and I am going to rip all the way along the length of the paper. So I have a nice long piece. It can be ripped, it's mostly important to rip it on one side. It doesn't have to be ripped on the other side. And then we have this fun green ribbon here. I'm going to cut this in half, but I'm going to squigglify it, which means I'm going to kind of go like this. So it kind of looks like hilly-ish kind of grass. So that's kind of my thought here. On our little mushroom stems right here, we're going to put a little bit of double-sided tape on the back. I got my 1-inch wide double-sided tape. So I'm going to flip these over. And I have my mesh ribbon. It's kind of ivory colored, this stuff. And so with my ivory ribbon, I'm going to cut myself a couple little squares. Remove my grass pieces out of the way for a moment. I'm going to peel this off. And then I'm going to take my little mesh piece, I'm going to wrap it onto the front and then bring it to the back side again. And this is going to be that I don't know what you would even call that, but the textured piece underneath the Amanita mushroom. I don't even know what it's actually called. I am honestly not super knowledgeable on all of the correct mushroom terms. I just really think that mushrooms are super cute and I love them a lot. Oops, let's turn my fan on. Okay, all right, so then we're gonna take our white gel pen and of course onto our Amanitas, we're gonna add little white dots to make them look as real as possible, if that's possible. And you'll notice I'm doing dot groupings, which is big dots and little dots. All right, okay. I'm gonna put a big piece of double-sided tape on the back side of each of my Amanitas. Stick those onto my textured ribbon there, right on the top. Fun, look how cute those are. And I'm gonna use some glue to adhere everything else. My little ink caps. My velvety mushroom. I'm sure there's an official name, but I'm gonna call it my velvet mushroom. And my morels, of course. This is where we get to peel and stick this. Now, because I'm not quite ready to stick it onto my card, I'm actually going to flip this over. I probably didn't need to put glue on this, but I'm going to stick my stem fuzzy side down so that the sticky side is up, because at this exact second I'm not quite ready to stick on my morels. So they're sticky. Aren't those so cute? Okay, so I have all my mushrooms ready to go. All right, time to put this together. All right, so this will be our piece that goes inside. All right, so we're gonna put on a piece of 1 inch wide double-sided tape and put this all along the bottom of the front of my card. And then I'm going to stick on my grassy part up at the top here. And I'm going to stick my ripped paper edge along the bottom. And the idea here is that you want to cover up all the double-sided tape, but even if you don't, it's okay. I'm going to flip this over so I can cut off any excess that's hanging off. All right. Then I'm going to do the same thing for the back side. Again, a piece of 1 inch wide double-sided tape along the bottom. My grassy textured piece goes first, and then we're going to do our ribbed piece. Oh, it looks like mine's not quite long enough. That's okay. I might double it up a little bit. Nothing wrong with that. Add a little bit of glue in here. Sounds great. Right, and just like before, flip that over and just cut off any excess that might be sticking off. All right, and we're done with these pieces. Okay, now we're going to stick all our little mushroom. Oh, before we do that, we have our little flag piece. So I'm the kind of person, you can put your flag on the front if you would like. I like there to be like something that leads me to the inside. I think that's kind of a cute way to go. So I'm going to have this on the front, and I'm going to bring this around. There's already glue on it, and I pinched it to the inside. So it kind of leads you to look on the inside, which I kind of like. Okay, and then, of course, it's time to stick on all of our mushrooms. Now you might have some double-sided tape already on here on some of your mushrooms ready to go, in which case you can just grab those guys and stick them in place. Again, I'm the kind of human that I like there to be a variety of fun mushrooms. I just think that's so much fun. Let's see, I might want to make my ink cap just a little bit shorter here. Something you should probably know, especially if you're putting your ink caps on here. Ink caps grow together. Because they always grow in like a little grouping. All right. Very fun. And then on my back side here, oh, we'll add in another cute little red mushroom. And then of course my morels. I'm gonna put a little bit of glue on the stem part. This part's already sticky. So we'll stick that guy on here. And of course I have this little guy. Now he's gonna kind of be growing out of the side. I might have actually done this guy a little bit weird. Let's see where, oh, I'm gonna put him on the inside of the card. Yes! Oh my gosh, I love that. Okay, we'll come back to that in just a second. All right, and then my morel. Got all my morels up here. My morels. Let's see. Maybe what I'll do, ooh, can I pull this off? Yes! Yes, I can. Maybe I'll put this guy on the outside because I kind of like that he's kind of growing out of the side. Okay. I still want him coming out of the ground at least a little bit because when my card is open, otherwise it's going to look kind of weird. All right, there we are. And I'll put my Amanita, I think, on the inside of the card. Ah, so fun! Yes, very cute. A little bit of glue there. Fantastic. All right, so now that we have the mushroom part done, look how cute that is. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love that. Now it's time to add the cutest part, the snail part. So, of course, I have all these cute snails, but I also have all of these fun sentiments. Snail you later, you're a fun guy, and moral support. So I think that I'm going to do moral support for this card because I really like that. And I think it works for, you know, it's a fun pun, but also works for a variety of different people. And then, you know me, I have to add in snails. Now, I am personally going to stamp and fussy cut some snails. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to, but I am going to because I like to. I think the snails are really cute and they bring me a lot of joy, and I hope they bring you a lot of joy too. But I'm also going to stamp some snails on the inside. So I really think it's absolutely adorable when snails curl up things. I really like that. So for my card, I'm going to have my little snails crawling all over the place, along the bottom, along the sides. I just think they're so much fun. These are my art, my little art stamps. Taylor made me all of these little snail stamps, and I really, really like them. He was able to take my art and turn them into stamps, which I love. I gotta have snails crawling on the ceiling. I'm calling it the ceiling, but the top of my card. You know what I mean. Oh gosh, so much fun. And then I gotta have a cute little snail over here too. This is going to be an extra snaily card, and if you're not a snail fan, that's okay. That's why I had the moral support, because with the moral support or the moral support sentiment on the front, it's really more mushroom themed than snail themed. So with my other card, this is my other sample, I said snail you later, and there's lots and lots of snails all over the whole thing. Again, if you don't want it to be snaily, you don't have to. All right, of course I got to cut out all my cute little snailies. And whenever I'm doing fussy cutting, you know, I'm not the kind of person that I'm going to really spend like an hour doing fussy cutting. When I was younger, I loved fussy cutting and doing all the little details. As an adult, and now that I'm a crafter, I'm not as particular about fussy cutting. I'm like, will it accomplish the task? All right. Spend as little time as possible. Okay. Got this little cutie with this little antennae. I love that. When I was actually designing these stamps, I actually specifically did not want to do super, super tiny detail antennae because I knew that if I ever wanted to fussy cut my little snails out, that was just going to be way too bothersome for me, and I didn't want to redraw little snail antennae, or whatever it is you call the little snail bobbles that come out of their little faces. I always call them antennae. All right, so now I got a few cute little snails. So for the front, of course, I want to have my little snails crawling on things. So I have my little guy up here, adorable. And then of course I gotta have a little snail down here along the bottom, so cute. And we might as well put another one on the other side. Ah, yes, right up here. Yay, very, very fun. All right, friends, so there we have this week's $5 craft. So you come by and make our little craft for just $5 this week. You get to learn lots of fun things, get to use some stuff maybe you've never used before, and of course you get to play with all my snail stamps. All right, friends, we'll see you guys soon. Or rather, I'll snail you later. Ha ha ha! Bye, you guys.